Welcome to my channel USA Old Coins. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end, you won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. In the world of coin collecting, few coins stir the imagination and curiosity of collectors quite like the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1965. At first glance, it might appear to be just another ordinary quarter, common, worn, and often overlooked in pocket change. But what if I told you that hiding in plain sight, among millions of 1965 quarters, are rare gems worth thousands, and in one astonishing case, more than $155,000? The 1965 Washington quarter represents a critical moment in American monetary history. This was the first year the United States stopped using 90% silver in quarters and switched to a clad composition of copper and nickel. This change was not just a minor adjustment, it was a monumental shift in how America produced its coinage. Silver, once the very soul of our coinage, was becoming too expensive. And in 1965, the U.S. Mint drew a line between the old and the new, but here's where the story gets really interesting. During this transition, mistakes happened, mistakes that today are considered treasures. Some 1965 quarters were mistakenly struck on 90% silver planchets left over from the previous year. These rare silver quarters from 1965 are not supposed to exist. And yet, a few have slipped into the hands of the lucky and the watchful. If you've ever held a 1965 quarter and felt it had a slightly different ring, a different shine, or even a different weight, you might be onto something. Silver quarters are heavier than clad ones. They sound crisper when dropped. And to an experienced eye, they have a distinct, unmistakable luster. Could your coin be one of the few accidental silver strikes? Collectors and dealers alike have been hunting these rare silver 1965 quarters for decades. They've been found in old collections, estate sales, and even rolls from the bank. One of the most valuable features of a 1965 quarter is its planchet, the blank metal disc used to strike the coin. If your 1965 quarter was struck on a leftover 1964 silver planchet, you could be holding a six-figure coin, but errors aren't the only factor driving up the value. Condition matters more than ever. Most quarters from this era have been heavily circulated, scratched, scuffed, and worn thin by time. But when a 1965 quarter surfaces in pristine condition, with no signs of wear, it becomes a serious candidate for grading. And when third-party grading companies assign it a high mint state grade, collectors start paying attention. Coins graded MS-67 or higher are incredibly scarce, especially from the 1960s. Most coins struck for circulation didn't survive that cleanly. So when a 1965 quarter earns such a grade, its value skyrockets. And if it happens to also be a silver planchet error? That's the kind of coin that makes headlines, but even within the regular clad coins of 1965, there are varieties worth chasing. Some quarters feature doubling, where parts of the coin's design appear to be doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These doubled dies, especially on the lettering or Washington's profile, are highly desirable. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and other wild minting mishaps that turn a regular coin into a collectible oddity. The 1965 quarter is no stranger to these types of errors. Each error tells a different story. Each flaw turns into a feature. And each coin becomes a unique piece of history, because the 1965 quarter was minted in huge quantities, over 1.8 billion pieces, it can be easy to assume they're all worthless. But the truth is, it's among these billions that the rare treasures hide. The thrill of hunting them lies in the fact that anyone, anywhere, might stumble upon one in their change point. One of the most fascinating facts about this coin is that no mint mark appears on 1965 quarters. The U.S. Mint removed all mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage collectors from hoarding them during the transition away from silver. So whether your coin came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it simply reads 1965 with no trace of its origin. Because of this, identifying certain rare versions requires more than just looking at the surface. It takes weighing the coin precisely on a scale. Silver quarters weigh about 6.25 grams, while clad quarters weigh around 5.67 grams. That difference is enough to spot the imposters, the rare silver planchets hiding among the masses. Every so often, a collector makes the find of a lifetime. That's exactly what happened when a pristine 1965 silver quarter was submitted for grading. Not only was it confirmed to be struck on a silver planchet, but it was also in remarkable condition, earning an exceptional mint state grade. When it went to auction, the coin drew the attention of collectors across the country. The bidding was fierce. Phone calls were made. Bidders were relentless. And when the final hammer fell, the coin had shattered expectations. That single, tiny, silver-colored piece of metal sold for more than most people make in a year. It sold not for $1,000, not $10,000, but for the jaw-dropping total of $155,000. Yes, that's right, $155,000. All for a 1965 quarter most people wouldn't look twice at. But with the right error, the right condition, and the right moment in history, even the humblest coin can become a legendary prize. So what does this mean for you? It means that your next great discovery might be closer than you think. That change in your pocket, that jar of coins on the shelf, or that forgotten box in the attic could be holding a rare piece of American history. All it takes is a sharp eye, a curious mind, and a little bit of luck. The 1965 Washington quarter teaches us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. And for those who are willing to search, to study, and to dream, the rewards can be truly extraordinary. In the world of numismatics, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin. And when it comes to the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, that line can be worth $155,000. Top 2. In the vast and intriguing world of American coins, there are some years that hold more secrets than others, more mystery beneath the metal, more potential for life-changing discoveries. One such year that silently carries a story of transformation, rarity, and hidden value is 1967. And the coin that sits at the heart of this narrative is none other than the Washington quarter dollar, simple in appearance, but rich in history and potential value. The 1967 Washington quarter, to most people, is just another coin that passed from pocket to pocket, through cash registers, vending machines, and lunch counters across America. It carries no silver, no mint mark, and at first glance, nothing that would set it apart. But for coin collectors, it is precisely these seemingly common coins that demand the closest inspection. Because within a handful of these 1967 quarters lies the possibility of a discovery worth tens of thousands of dollars. It was during this time that the United States Mint made a significant change in how coins were produced. The Mint was still recovering from a massive coin shortage that had started in the early 1960s. To control the collecting frenzy and coin hoarding, mint marks were removed between 1965 and 1967. That means all 1967 quarters, regardless of where they were struck, lack any mint marked. In addition, this was just a couple of years after the U.S. government made a dramatic decision to eliminate 90% silver from circulating quarters. From 1965 onward, the Mint began producing quarters with a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. While these new quarters were plentiful, the transition led to numerous striking errors and unexpected variants that would later become the darlings of the numismatic world. Among the most exciting of these are the elusive off-metal errors. It's believed that a very small number of 1,967 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets or planchets intended for foreign coins. These errors are unbelievably rare. They happened when leftover silver blanks from earlier years were mistakenly used to strike new clad quarters. These silver-struck 1967 quarters are incredibly valuable today. Another reason the 1967 quarter stands out is due to its inclusion in the U.S. Mint's Special Mint Set, or SMS. This was not a traditional proof set, but a high-quality alternative for collectors during the years when proof coins were not being produced. SMS quarters from 1967 were struck with special care, often with better strikes and shinier surfaces than standard circulation coins. But here's the kicker: some of these SMS coins display mysterious and rare qualities, such as deep cameo contrast, doubling, or experimental finishes. Over time, collectors have discovered that even small details can make a huge difference in a coin's value. A perfectly struck 1967 quarter with deep, mirror-like fields and frosted devices can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if graded correctly. And when those coins display additional rarity, such as doubling on the letters, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, their value begins to soar beyond imagination. One fascinating variety that has captured the attention of collectors is the double die obverse seen on a small number of 1967 quarters. This error, where the design is impressed twice slightly off alignment, creates a doubling effect on the lettering or Washington's face. While not confirmed to be widespread, any such coin found from 1967 could command a serious premium. Condition is also a massive factor in determining the value of a 1967 quarter. Most coins from that year have been handled and circulated for decades, meaning they bear the scratches, wear, and discoloration of daily use. But coins that somehow escaped circulation, ones stored safely away, preserved in original government packaging, or accidentally dropped behind a drawer and forgotten, may still exist in near-perfect condition. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated a very small number of 1967 quarters that grade MS67 or higher. These high-grade coins are shockingly rare. Each time one is submitted and earns such a grade, it causes a stir in the collecting community. These coins represent the absolute top of the quality scale for 1967 quarters, and their value can multiply by tens of thousands of dollars compared to the average piece. One thing collectors often forget is that the real magic lies in the hunt. Every quarter you examine, every roll you search through, every pocketful of change you dump onto a table could hold the key to unlocking a treasure. The 1967 quarter may not be flashy at first glance, but its rarity lies in the unseen details: the sound of silver, the weight of an off-metal strike, or the pristine gleam of an untouched surface. And it's not just a tale of mistakes and errors. The historical context matters too. The 1960s was a time of great cultural and political change in America. The coins from that era carry the weight of history, symbolizing both the end of silver coinage and the birth of modern minting techniques. The 1967 quarter is a product of this transitional moment, a coin stuck between two worlds. Collectors today are paying closer attention than ever. With modern tools, digital scales, magnification, and online communities, it's now possible for anyone, anywhere, to become a coin detective. And it is within that network of curiosity and passion that new finds continue to emerge, surprising the market and setting new records for value. So, how do you know if your 1967 quarter is special? Start with the basics. Check the weight. A silver quarter weighs more than a clad one. Then look for doubling, luster, or any strike irregularities. Compare it to trusted images online. And if in doubt, don't hesitate to send it in for grading. That one small step could turn a simple quarter into the find of a lifetime. One such coin recently caused a sensation when it was discovered to be a 1967 quarter struck on a silver planchet in exceptional condition. The details were razor sharp. The weight matched that of a 1964 silver coin. And the surface was nearly flawless. It was sent to a professional grading service and came back with a remarkably high grade. When it went to auction, bidders from around the world lined up to take their shot, and when the dust settled, this little piece of 1960s history sold for a jaw-dropping amount, an amount that would change most people's lives. That single coin, unnoticed for years, sold for a staggering $147,000. Yes, you heard that right. $147,000. For a quarter. A 25-cent piece with a hidden story, now etched forever in numismatic legend. So the next time you see a dull old 1967 quarter sitting in your change jar, give it a second look. Because just maybe, you're holding a small fortune disguised as a simple coin. Top 3. In the exciting world of coin collecting, every so often a particular coin rises from the shadows of everyday circulation and captures the imagination of collectors around the globe. One such coin is the 1970 Washington quarter dollar, an unassuming piece at first glance, but one that holds a mystery, a story, and a value far beyond its humble face. You might have held this coin in your hand before, flipped it through your fingers, paid for a snack with it, and never once realized it could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. And while millions of quarters have been minted across decades, not all of them are equal. Some, like the 1970 Washington quarter, come with quirks, secrets, and surprises that can turn a casual coin into a collector's dream. The year 1970 sits in a unique place in American history. It was a time of cultural shifts, social movements, and changes in the economy. But for the United States Mint, it was also a time of intense production and evolving minting technology. That shift created conditions ripe for rare coin varieties, and the 1970 quarter is a standout example of what can happen when minting doesn't go exactly as planned. Most people assume the 1970 quarter is just another clad coin, made of copper and nickel, worth 25 cents. And for the vast majority, that's true. But among the many, there are a few exceptions. There are quarters from that year that display errors so rare and intriguing that they fetch jaw-dropping amounts at auction. And it's not always what you see, it's what you discover when you look closer. One of the most famous examples is the 1970s quarter struck over a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you heard that right. Due to an incredible minting error, a small number of 1,970 quarters were accidentally stamped on previously minted foreign coins. When magnified, you can see remnants of the old Canadian design hiding underneath the 1970 image. It's an astonishing mistake that turned an everyday coin into one of the rarest and most bizarre treasures in modern American numismatics. This type of mint error is known as a double denomination strike or overstrike. And in the case of the 1970s quarter over Canadian silver, it combines historical intrigue with undeniable rarity. Only a few such coins are known to exist, and they are almost impossible to fake due to the precise, layered detail that shows through under intense scrutiny. These coins don't just surprise collectors, they stun them, but the mystery doesn't stop there. Even without the overstrike, the 1970 quarter can show other rare features. Some have strong doubling on the date and lettering, known as a double die error. This results from a misalignment during the hubbing process when the coin's design is impressed onto the die more than once, but slightly offset. Doubling errors from this period are prized among collectors, and when found on a quarter from 1970, the value can climb rapidly. Another factor that can elevate the value of a 1970 quarter is its condition. Most quarters from this era were heavily circulated, tossed from hand to hand for decades. Finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare enough, but finding one with a high grade from a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC takes the rarity to a whole new level. Mint marks matter too. The 1970 quarters were struck at different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The San Francisco Mint, marked by an S below Washington's hair ribbon, produced both circulating and proof coins. Proof coins are made with specially polished dies and planchets, producing a mirror-like surface and sharp details. Some proof 1970 quarters have errors unique to their batch, including misaligned dies, missing layers, or planchet irregularities. For collectors and investors alike, the thrill is in the details. It's in that slight difference between a normal coin and one that breaks all the rules. That's why so many people turn to their old collections, their junk drawers, their inherited boxes of coins from relatives. Because that one coin, the one no one paid attention to, could be the next big discovery. What gives the 1970 quarter such potential is not just its oddities, but its story. Imagine a coin meant to serve as silent currency instead becoming a symbol of human error and unexpected value. Imagine finding a coin that not only defied its purpose but also crossed international borders, literally becoming a Canadian-American hybrid due to a minting mistake. the market for such coins is not just a niche hobby, it's serious business. Major auctions across the United States have featured these rare 1970 quarters, and when they appear, they cause a frenzy. Bidders know exactly how rare these coins are. They know that it could be years before another surfaces in similar condition. They know that owning one is like holding a piece of minting history, and while most 1970 quarters are still worth their face value, the rare few with unique characteristics have become the stuff of legend. Every now and then, a coin appears in the spotlight, authenticated, graded, and presented to the world for sale. And when it does, the price it commands is nothing short of astonishing. Collectors everywhere are encouraged to check their old proof sets, to inspect that change jar sitting on the shelf, to look again at the quarter they almost ignored. The rare 1970s quarters struck on a Canadian coin, or those with high-grade, pristine finishes and double dies, are still out there, waiting to be discovered by sharp eyes and a little patience. And let's not forget, this is more than just collecting. It's about discovering value where no one else saw it. It's about learning history through metal, about seeing stories in something as small and simple as a coin. The Washington quarter from 1970 is a perfect example of how something ordinary can become extraordinary. One such extraordinary piece stunned the numismatic world when it appeared at a private auction. It was a 1970s Washington quarter, clearly struck on a 1941 silver Canadian coin. The coin had been graded and verified, with the overlapping designs making it one of the most visually captivating coins in American minting history. The auction was intense. Collectors from around the world placed their bids, each one pushing the value higher and higher, and when the final bid was placed and the hammer fell, this rare piece of American coinage history was sold for a staggering $140,000. Right. $140,000. For a coin you might have overlooked in a drawer. So the next time you pick up a 1970 Washington quarter, remember, this small coin might hold a big surprise. Keep looking, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your next coin could be the one that changes everything. Top 4. In the heart of every collector beats a passion for discovery, a yearning to uncover hidden gems in the everyday world. One of the most thrilling examples of this lies in a coin that many people have held without even knowing its true potential, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. A simple piece of pocket change to some, yet to others, it is a symbol of value, history, and the electrifying chance to uncover a true rarity worth a life-changing amount of money. The Washington quarter series began in 1932 as a tribute to the first president of the United States, George Washington. Its elegant design and strong presence have made it a cornerstone of American coinage for decades. And while most quarters are minted for simple circulation, every so often, a year stands out, like 1972. A year of innovation, transition, and rare minting mysteries, the 1972 Washington quarter may appear ordinary at first glance. It features the iconic left-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" perfectly stamped. The reverse displays the noble eagle, wings spread in strength and readiness, perched upon a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing both war and peace. But within some of these quarters, something extraordinary lies beneath the surface. In 1972, quarters were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while those from Denver proudly wear a small D below the ribbon on Washington's hair. These mint marks can sometimes indicate the origin of rare errors, which are where the story of the 1972 quarter becomes truly exciting for collectors. Among the known rarities, some 1972 quarters are plagued, or blessed, depending on how you look at it, with striking errors. These include doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal or wrong size planchet. These oddities, though unintentional, are the exact traits that can push a common coin into the elite class of numismatic treasure. One of the most fascinating errors associated with the 1972 quarter is the doubled die obverse. This happens when the die that stamps the design onto the coin was engraved more than once, creating a doubling effect. On some 1972 quarters, this doubling can be clearly seen in the date, the word Liberty, or even in the motto, "In God We Trust." It's not just a visual anomaly, it's a ticket to potentially immense value. Then there are the off-metal strikes. Occasionally, due to mishaps in the minting process, a quarter may be struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. These mistakes are exceedingly rare, but when discovered, they set the collecting world abuzz. Imagine finding a 1972 quarter that weighs differently or sounds slightly off when dropped. These subtle cues could lead to something big. Collectors also prize coins in pristine, uncirculated condition. Quarters that have avoided the wear and tear of decades of circulation and still boast their original mint luster are graded highly by professional services. If a 1972 quarter receives a top grade, such as MS67 or MS68, from a grading agency like PCGS or NGC, its value can skyrocket, but rarity alone doesn't make a coin valuable. It's also the demand from the numismatic community. The 1972 quarter has grown in popularity due to the relative scarcity of high-grade examples and the mystery surrounding the minting errors that have surfaced over the years. This growing demand, fueled by social media and auction houses, continues to drive up the prices for the most outstanding specimens. What makes the 1972 quarter especially thrilling is the possibility that someone, somewhere, could still find one sitting unnoticed in a change jar or tucked away in a forgotten collection. The idea that a coin worth thousands could be hiding in plain sight is what keeps this hobby alive with anticipation and excitement. Take, for example, the story of a collector who stumbled upon a particularly rare 1972 Washington quarter while going through a collection he inherited from his grandfather. To the untrained eye, it looked like any other coin. But under magnification, it revealed strong doubling on the obverse and a slightly off-center strike. He sent it for grading and was shocked when it came back with a high mint state designation and confirmation of the doubled die. Another story comes from an estate sale where a jar of quarters was sold for just a few dollars. Among them was a 1972 quarter with a clipped planchet. A visible portion of the coin had been missing since minting, due to a miscut blank. It was small, subtle, but completely authentic. The buyer flipped it for thousands. The thrill of finding a rare quarter like the 1972 is part luck, part knowledge. Understanding what to look for is half the battle. Every scratch, shine, or unusual mark can point to something special. That's why coin enthusiasts use magnifying glasses and digital microscopes, because the difference between a regular coin and a fortune could be no more than a hairline error. With the rise of digital marketplaces, rare 1972 quarters have made appearances in major auctions, sometimes attracting attention from collectors around the globe. The bidding is often fierce, the competition electric. When one of these coins appears in pristine condition with a verified error or anomaly, it commands not just attention but astonishing offers. And while thousands of 1972 quarters still exist, only a very small number possess the characteristics that drive up their value into 5 and 6 figures. It's not just about age, it's about uniqueness, condition, and rarity. The hunt is very much alive, and every day brings the possibility of a new discovery. For many, the Washington quarter of 1972 represents more than just money. It represents a piece of history, a testament to American craftsmanship, and a link between generations of collectors. It's a reminder that even in the ordinary, there is the potential for the extraordinary. And now, perhaps the most thrilling moment of all, the confirmed value of one of the most extraordinary 1972 Washington quarters ever sold. With an incredible strike error, flawless luster, and a near-perfect mint grade, this coin made waves at a national auction. It was a moment of silence, then rising bids, each one lifting the coin's legacy higher. The final price? $130,000. So the next time you hold a quarter from 1972, don't just see it as change. See it as a possibility. Because in your hands might be a coin worth more than you ever imagined. Keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your quarter is the next one that makes history. Top 5. There's something magical about the way a simple coin can connect us to a larger story, one of history, craftsmanship, and hidden treasure. And when we talk about the Washington quarter dollar from 1973, we're diving into a chapter of American coinage that's often overlooked but absolutely electrifying for collectors and treasure hunters alike. It's not just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of value waiting to be rediscovered. The year 1973 was an important time for the United States. The Vietnam War was nearing its final years, space exploration was pressing forward, and inflation was starting to make headlines. Amid these shifts, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins for everyday use, quarter dollars among them. But within the hundreds of millions produced, a few extraordinary pieces slipped through the cracks, and one of them just might be hiding in your collection or change jar right now. The Washington quarter design, which began in 1932, had already become a familiar part of American life by 1973. John Flanagan's iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse was strikingly dignified. The eagle on the reverse stood for power and vigilance. But something happened in 1973 that transformed some of these otherwise ordinary quarters into incredibly rare collectibles. At first glance, a 1973 quarter may not seem any different from those minted in the years before or after. But experts and collectors know better. Hidden within a sea of regular issues are a handful of these quarters that were struck with errors so unique and captivating that they now sell for tens of thousands of dollars at major auctions. And if you know what to look for, you could be the next lucky finder. One type of error that collectors absolutely love is the doubled die. When a coin's design is accidentally stamped twice with slight misalignment, it creates a visual doubling effect, often seen in the letters or date. In the case of the 1973 Washington quarter, some doubled die varieties have been identified with dramatic doubling on the word liberty and in God we trust. These coins are like optical illusions, and their uniqueness makes them wildly valuable, but that's not the only rarity. The 1973 quarters were struck in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins have a small D beneath Washington's ponytail. Rare off-center strikes and clipped planchets have been found from both mints. Imagine a quarter that's only 80% complete, or one with a curved chunk missing from the edge. Errors like these are 1 in a million and fetch staggering prices when authenticated. Die cracks and cuds are also high on collectors' radar. A cut appears when a piece of the die breaks off, causing a raised, blob-like feature on the coin. While some might see it as a flaw, collectors see it as a beautiful accident. Some 1973 quarters display such unique die breaks that they've become conversation pieces in coin shows and auctions. Let's not forget transitional errors, coins minted with incorrect metal compositions or on wrong planchets. While extremely rare for 1973 quarters, there are whispers in the coin collecting community of quarters struck on dime blanks or foreign planchets that weigh less than standard. These ultra-rare pieces are like the holy grail for numismatists. Condition also plays a massive role in a coin's value. A 1973 quarter pulled from circulation might be worth face value, but one in pristine, uncirculated mint state condition can fetch serious cash. The best examples, graded MS67 or above, are sharp, lustrous, and free from the dings and wear of everyday use. The competition to own one of these top-graded coins is fierce, and prices often shoot up in heated bidding wars. Even circulated 1973 quarters with unique errors can sell for hundreds or thousands. But when you combine a major minting error with a near-perfect condition, that's when the numbers climb into 5 and even 6 figures. That's when the simple quarter in your pocket might become a headline story. The fun part? These rare coins are still out there. In change jars, piggy banks, old dresser drawers, forgotten collections passed down from relatives. Every day, collectors and sharp-eyed individuals stumble across coins they never knew were valuable, until they took a closer look. You might be just one magnifying glass away from a major payday. Online auctions and coin shows continue to reveal the hidden gems of the 1973 quarter series. Coins with deep cameo-proof surfaces, strong doubling, wild die cracks, or extreme off-center strikes have been spotted, graded, and sold for impressive sums. The excitement builds with every new discovery. And the more these coins are studied, the more their value rises. Collectors know that the thrill is in the hunt. Every roll of quarters offers the possibility of an unexpected find. That's what keeps this hobby alive, the chance that an ordinary coin can turn into an extraordinary story. And for those hunting the 1973 Washington quarter, the chase is far from over. Let's not overlook the historical backdrop that gives these coins even more appeal. In 1973, there were no quarter dollars produced for general circulation with the S mint mark from San Francisco. All San Francisco minted coins that year were proofs, struck with special care for collectors. So if you happen to find a 1973 quarter with a mirror-like finish and a sharp S mint mark, it could be one of those rare proof strikes, especially valuable in flawless condition. As interest in coins continues to rise through YouTube, TikTok, and other social platforms, more and more people are waking up to the treasure hiding in their change. The 1973 quarter, once overlooked, is now earning its place in the spotlight. It's becoming one of the most talked about coins from the 1970s thanks to growing demand, rarity, and skyrocketing auction prices. Stories have emerged of lucky individuals cashing in big thanks to a simple coin find. One man found a 1973 quarter with a rare misstrike while cleaning out his father's coin box. After sending it to a grading service and getting confirmation of its uniqueness, he sold it for a price that most would never believe. Stories like that are the reason people now check every quarter they touch, and if you're just getting into coin collecting, the Washington quarter from 1973 is a fantastic place to start. It's a coin that still circulates, still hides in plain sight, yet holds the potential to change someone's life. It teaches you how to examine, compare, and appreciate the craftsmanship behind every coin. To own a rare 1973 Washington quarter is to own a slice of American history. It's more than silver, copper, and nickel. It's a connection to our past, a reward for patience, and a reminder that greatness sometimes hides in the most ordinary places. And now, let's talk about the pinnacle, the most exceptional 1973 Washington quarter known to exist. This coin didn't just stand out, it stunned. It bore a dramatic double die obverse, a sharp strike, and gleamed with untouched mint luster. After being graded and authenticated, it went on to command an incredible price at a major numismatic auction. The final selling price? $125,000. So, before you spend that next quarter, take a moment. Flip it over, inspect the details, check the year. Because the quarter that looks like every other coin might just be the one that changes your life. Keep your eyes open, your heart curious, and your collection growing. You never know what treasure you'll find next.